Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. We are here on this Figured Out Friday inside of the Coaches Cafe with Regina, your lifestyle health strategist, your lifestyle health specialist. And for those that don't know me, I pull up every Friday, set your notifications, 6 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. We're talking all things that can move and shift your health markers. Good morning. We're talking all things that can move and shift your health markers. And so I'm glad to pull up in this space because what I know is people need factual information, they need reliable, trusted information. And so I don't want y'all getting y'all information from TikTok. I do research, I partner, and I collab with medical providers to verify the information that I share because you want to trust but verify. And so I'm so glad to be in this space today. Make sure if you have not, go ahead on and share this out and let's get this conversation started. We are talking stress in our diet because a lot of times, well, let me say this is not going to be the diet that you think about, but we're talking this morning. April is Stress Awareness Month. And so, got my water. Make sure you have your water. Do you have your water? Drop in the comments if you have your water. Let me see what my people over here on YouTube talking about this morning. Good morning. Hey, Grand Rising. Welcome to the space this morning. Welcome to the space this morning. So glad you all are here. Again, we're talking stress and your diet, D.I.E.T. I dropped the reel about it earlier this week. And so let's get into this conversation. So, a lot of times we navigate very complicated situations that lend us to be overwhelmed and stressed out. So, if you've been feeling overwhelmed here lately, if you've been feeling like you're stretched thin, or you're just mentally tired, this conversation is for you today. And if you don't get on the other side of yours, then make sure you share this conversation with somebody else who has not gotten on the other side. Like I mentioned, April is Stress Awareness Month. But I want to say this, awareness is not enough. It's okay to be aware, but we want to make some shifts so that we don't stay in these stressful states for extended periods of time. There are two types of stress. One is acute stress. You're excited about something, whether it's a new relationship, you're about to make a new purchase, you are up for a promotion, or even just a new job altogether, new relationship, new car purchase, kids leaving. Like there are some things that you can be very excited about, and they cause you angst, they cause you stress. And so the difference is with acute stress, you're probably looking at about 90 days, you're planning that thing out. There is for acute stress, there is an end in sight. Type in the comments for acute stress, there is an end in sight. The difference is for chronic stress, two types of stress, acute stress and chronic stress. The difference is for chronic stress, it's more long term. You've been navigating, good morning, TT Roz. You've been navigating this thing for a long time, and there is no end in sight. So when you've been navigating that thing for a long time and there is no end in sight, guess what's going to happen? It's going to affect your cardiovascular system. It's going to affect your mindset. It's going to affect your physical body, your physical health. And so it compromises everything about how you live. Yeah. It compromises everything about how you live. So we don't want you in long-term stressful situations. And if you are in a stressful situation, I'm going to provide you with some things that we're going to be able to do. Some things that you don't even think about, but some basic things that are really going to help you navigate your current stress situation until either A, you create a exit and an inner strategy where you decide, how am I going to exit this thing safely? And how will I enter into my next situation? And so, acute stress and chronic stress, we're talking stress and your diet. How do they correlate? What? So, let's get into this conversation. April is, and I'm going to repeat, not only is it my birthday month, but April is Stress Awareness Month, and I want to help you navigate stress. So, drop in the comments one thing that's been stressing you this month, if you're comfortable sharing. What is one thing that has been stressing you this month? Just one thing. If you're with me, drop one thing that's been stressing you this month so I can read a couple of them out. Because, well, we don't want to be stressed. But what is one thing that has been stressing you out? It could be a good thing. And I'm going to say this. I have some like a little commercial here, but I have some new partnerships. And when we talk about stress, one thing that we all experience in life, and that's loss. Whether it's loss of a loved one, whether it's loss because your children are leaving and you got this empty nest syndrome going on, or whether it's loss of a relationship, the person is still here and you're still grieving some things. I want to shout out my new partnership with When Morning Comes. That's going to be Net and Rhonda, When Morning Comes podcast. If you're navigating any kind of loss, this is my commercial break. If you're navigating any kind of loss, make sure you connect with Net and Rhonda of the podcast When Morning Comes. Because one thing about loss, it will contribute to your stress. And you do not have to navigate loss alone. Whether you lost a person of who you are or who you previously were, and you in a transition season and you need support in that way. So I'm adding in a resource for you as we're talking about stress. So I don't want to just talk about stress, but I want to guide you to resources. So a resource, I want you, and type this in the comments. And if you're watching the replay, make sure you take note of this. One thing about stress, you don't have to navigate alone, but a lot of times people are navigating stress alone. If you are dealing with any kind of loss, I want to invite you to my new collaboration, my new partnership, When Morning Comes. And that's MOURNING. And that's going to be Net and Rhonda. Make sure you check them out, Instagram, Facebook, as well as YouTube, because loss leads to stress. Loss is very stressful. And there's no timetable with that. And so a lot of activities. Okay, I got some comments coming in, but I want to make sure I announce that partnership as well as give you a resource. Now you have a tangible resource if you're navigating stress, particularly around loss. So I have a comment out here, something that's been causing stress this month. One of my comments says a lot of activities at church and other requirements. The good thing is that it's leveling out. I like that. She recognized that, yes, I'm stressed. There's a lot going on because there are peak seasons when there may be a lot going on. And then she also recognized that, hey, it's going to level out. So that's going to be called, we're going to put that in acute category. There is a leveling out. If your situation does not appear to be leveling out, let's have a conversation. You really want to evaluate it so that you're not in a long-term stressful state. So thank you for sharing that. One thing that I do know in terms of our responsibilities, hey, what's up? In terms of our responsibilities, we like to do things in excellence, right? There's a difference in excellence and perfection. Excellence, I am going to do the best job that I can. Perfection is you're criticizing yourself for everything. And so when you have all these activities lined up, and if you can employ some people to help you out, they may not do it the way that you do it, but it will relieve some of the burden off of you. Don't be going behind people talking about that ain't how I would have done it. Ma'am, sir, ma'am, you're going to remain stressed out because you will not allow others to step in. Drop in the comments if that's you. If you have so much going on, but you're allowing yourself to be stressed out. Why? Because they're not going to do it like I do it. If you are a parent, allow them children to start ironing their own clothes. They may not iron them the way you iron them or steam them the way that you steam them, but it takes some burden and some pressure off you. Inside of our church organizations, that was a comment that I had a lot of church activities. Consider not raising your hand for everything, right? There are like hundreds of people at the church, and I'm sure if you don't raise your hand, it still will get done. I want y'all to think about these practical things, because sometimes because we can does not mean that we should. Type that in the comment. Just because you can does not mean that you should. Even in our workspaces, raising your hand, that was me for a long time, raising my hand, volunteering my team stressed out. I've shared with you all sometimes your greatest strength is also your greatest weakness. Why? Because you put so much pressure on you. You put so much pressure on those around you that are on your team. They're going to rise to your level, your expectation, and y'all are chronically stressed out. Can't sleep at night trying to plan for the next day. If that's you, type that in the comments. I can't sleep at night. But let's start to reduce some of that. Again, practical things. Invite other people along for the ride. They in the car, invite them along for the ride. Allow them to step in and do some things. Allow them to step in and do some things. What is one thing that you can take off your plate and give to somebody else? Type that in the comments. One thing that you steady holding on to that you don't have to hold on to, that you can actually release. It will help you to reduce your anxiety as well as your level of stress. So here's the truth. When we talk about stress, it isn't just about what's happening around you, it's about what's happening within you. That's my greater concern, is what's happening within you. You see, when you're physically tired, you want to go somewhere and sit down, but y'all know we got the press through spirit. We got the press through spirit, baby. We're just gonna keep pressing. We're gonna keep pressing. We got to get it done. And so I'm inviting you to consider shifting your diet. Some of us are praying for peace, but still holding on to all the patterns that cause us stress. Lord, if you get me out, if we just can make it through this one, but you steady add more to your plate. You steady add more to your plate. So I want to invite you to consider changing, assessing. Let's take an audit of your diet. Type diet in the comments, D.I.E.T. Type diet in the comments. That's D.I.E.T. And this is a framework that I developed, not about what you're eating, but this is a framework that I developed to help me to make some personal and professional shifts as I've been navigating this thing called life in my transition the last 10 months. Because for those who don't know, I transitioned back in June 30th of 2025. I retired from state government to operate in my calling full time, which is this work as a lifestyle health specialist. And so I just believe that there are practical things that we can do to close the gap with our health markers. That's my aim, is to address your health markers. And your stress level contributes to exacerbating your health markers. When you're talking about health markers, I am specifically talking about your high blood pressure, your type 2 diabetes, your high cholesterol, and you carrying that excess weight. Okay, make sure you pulling up with your water. So that's the space that I lean in, that is addressing your chronic health markers, right? And so if you don't address stress from an internal biological perspective, then what it appears that is sneaking up on us, high blood pressure is sneaking up on us, high cholesterol is sneaking up on us. These things are truly not sneaking up on us. We're not paying attention to the warning signs. So type diet in the comments. If you're still with me on YouTube and LinkedIn, type diet in the comments. Thank you. Over here on Facebook, we have diet in the comments. And so let's break this down. When we think about, I share with you all that a lot of times, and I live in the Bible Belt, we're gonna pray y'all under the pew and back up, okay? We're gonna raise Lazarus and everybody else down here in the South because we just gonna pray you under the pew, we're gonna pray about everything. And I believe in prayer, I believe in fasting, but I also believe that faith without works is dead. There is a requirement of us to do some work. And so you can pray yourself all day long. You can stop eating all day long. But if you're still adding all these things, and that's why you're not eating, you're counteracting that part of the quote unquote fasting and praying. If you steady adding stuff, then internally, baby, your body gonna shut down because your body keeps score. Your body keeps score. So here is my signature framework that I want to share with you all. Type it in the comments. Diet, D-I-E-T. D-I-E-T. And let's break that down real quick so that it's something that you can remember and you're going to start applying it to your life to help you make some different decisions about how you're moving. Why? To reduce your level of stress. To reduce your level of stress. And so D, decisions. I is going to be your influences. Type this in the comment for diet. D represents your decisions. I represents your influences. E represents your environment. And I like to use the term ecosystems. Your ecosystems matter. And then your T, your thinking. That is diet. So when we think about our level of stress, everything that associate with stress is associated to that diet framework. I'm stressed either because of the decision that I have not made, some influences that I either am taking in too much of, my environment. Again, the things that contribute to pouring into me, and then my thinking. How am I navigating this? So D is decisions. I are your influences. E is your environment, and T is your thinking. One of those have you stressed out right now. Either you need to make a major decision that you have not made, you need to have a hard conversation that you don't want to have, you are challenged with something, right? And so I want you to think about this. Yes, decisions influences your environment and your thinking. That is diet, D-I-E-T. I want us to be practical this morning. I want us, when we think about our stress and we think about decisions that we need to make, the people in our ear, and then how are we going to translate that thinking into our behavior? So let me drop this on you. I want you to pause. You all know that I practice gentle breath work. And so I want to pause because a part of your being stressed is that your nervous system is not regulated. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Your nervous system is not regulated. So we can't, type this in the comment, we can't heal what you won't slow down long enough to feel. Always on the go. We can't heal what you won't slow down long enough to feel. You don't allow yourself to breathe. Because just in case you did not know it, every time you pause and breathe, that is an opportunity for you to pause. But we just run right through our breaths. So I want you to inhale for the count of 4 and exhale. Inhale for the count of 4 at your own count. And exhale for the count of 6. Slow it down just a little bit. One more round. Inhale for the count of 4, and we're going to exhale for the count of 6. Inhale. Exhale. That exercise, your breath is a built-in stress reset. Type that. Good morning, Uncle D. Type that in the comments. My breath, every time you breathe, that is a stress reset. But oftentimes we just breathe and go, breathe and go, breathe and go. Just so I'm inviting you as a very simple practice. Inhale for 4 and exhale for 6. We just did 3 rounds of that. So as a practical takeaway, I want you to start practicing breath work throughout your day. Number 2, stress does not just live in your mind, it actually lives in your body. And so when we talk about decisions, we talk about our influences, we talk about our environment. So I want you, we just did some breath work because today is about making practical steps. So many people are chronically stressed, not acute stress, is way beyond 3 months, it's way beyond 90 days. But there are some practical things. One is that breath work that will help you reduce your anxiety and reduce your stress, right? You have a built in stress reset system, and that is your breathing. Stress doesn't just show up in your mind, woosah, it also shows up in your body. And so, to your own capacity, not to Regina's capacity, but to your own capacity, I want you to move. Sometimes stress is stuck in the body, whether it's in your shoulders. A lot of people get tense in their shoulders. We feel that tension in our shoulders. Sometimes we get the butterflies in our stomach when we get anxious about something. And so if you're able to physically walk, baby, 5 minutes a day, I done told y'all 60 seconds, 50 seconds, or 50 minutes, or 5 minutes a day will support your nervous system. If you can't do 30 minutes, I know what it's recommended, but if you can't do 30 minutes today, there's a way to work your way up to your own capacity. And the conversation that you need to hear most is to your capacity, not my capacity. Don't look at my social media and be like, oh, she posted she ran 8 miles. Don't worry about that. I've been training for over 16 years to run and to be active. You are at a state right now, wherever you are, you do not have to stay there. The level of stress in your body does not have to stay there. You can walk it out. You can just stretch it out because every movement, every motion is not necessarily physical, external, walking, dancing, that type of movement. I want to really give you some practical things that you can actually do. So if you're unable to physically walk and you have stress in your body, you see what I'm doing? I'm using motion to still extend out and release some tension, okay? You may need to just stretch your arms out as wide as you can. We're being practical today, okay? And then I want you to consider, just rolling your shoulders. That'll help you to relieve some stress. That'll help you to relieve some tension. It's the basic things. Let's get back to the basics. It's some basic things. Those basic shoulder rolls. So everybody on here, and if you're watching a replay, get your roll on as well. Roll your shoulders before your next meeting. Take a deep breath before your next conversation that you need to have. And so type this in the comment. Movement is medicine. Movement is medicine, just like food is, but we're talking movement. Movement is medicine. You don't need a gym. You need intention. I am going to give my body the attention and be intentional about my movement. Type that in the comments. Movement is medicine. And so just a little deeper about this diet, because 2 things I just gave you that are very practical. Number 1, do breath work. When we're stressed out or we have stressful situations, I invite you to consider regulating your nervous system. Regulating your nervous system through your breath work. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6. We're being practical today. Number 2, movement is medicine. When we think about stress, A lot of times, again, we're so on the go. We're trying to do the next thing, make sure it's done with integrity. We want to make sure it's done with perfectionism and excellence and all the things, and we're packing all this stuff on. I'm inviting you to slow down. One, to breathe. Two, to move. Two, to move. Movement is medicine. So, because breathing and movement really help, but if you don't get to the source of what's really causing you distress, it's just going to keep coming back. So that's where our diet framework comes into play. If you've not typed that in the chat, go ahead on and type that in the chat. Diet, D-I-E-T. We're talking about your decisions. Let's make this plain. What are you saying yes to that's really draining you? I want you to reflect on that. What are you saying yes to that's actually draining you? Sometimes you have to pause, breathe, and consider, one, do I have the capacity to do this? You already got a list this long. All the things highlighted on your list. So my question is, what are you continuing to say yes to? What decision do you need to make that either you don't want to make because you don't want to let somebody down, but at the same time, you're compromising your health? Well, it's just one more thing that's going to cause you to be stressed if you can invite others to be a part of it, right? What are you saying yes to? And only you know that. What are you saying yes to that's draining you? What are you saying yes to that's draining you? That is a decision. The D in the diet framework that contributes to your stress are decisions that we either need to make, that we won't make, or we just been toying with these decisions. We know what the answer is. I was talking with a young lady the other day in communication with her. She has a major life decision to make as it relates to, a situation. Ultimately, you know the decision that you want to make. Sometimes you feel like you need permission to make it. One, because it may not be culturally acceptable, but it's the best decision that you need to make for your life. That's what I want you to pick up in your spirit, that the decision that you need to make for your life to better position your health is a decision and a conversation that you're going to have with yourself. And if there are people who are going to be impacted by that decision, once you decide, have the conversation with yourself, then you need to share that information with other people. So, like I said, I was talking with a young lady who has to make a major decision. She feel like she don't know what to do, but ultimately, as I listen to her, she really knows the decision and has made the decision, but does not want to verbalize it or share that. That's going to contribute to ongoing stress. That's going to contribute to, when you don't make a decision, you're making a decision. So the D in the diet framework is decisions. What is something that you're saying yes to that is continuing to drain you? Personally, professionally, however you want to look at it. That's your reflection question. I, influences. What are you consuming that's contributing to your decision making? What are you consuming, whether it's TV, whether it's always picking up the phone, calling people, asking them for their input, and you have not once sat with yourself first to decide? Because the more people you talk to, the more opinions you're going to have. Drop that in the comment. The more people you talk to, the more opinions you're going to have. When people call me, I'm just in a position in life where I just listen. I listened to a lady for about 45 minutes. And she was like, well, I do want your feedback. Well, if you've already talked to 4 people, I'm just here to listen. So be mindful about your influences, whether it's social media, whether it's your family, it's your friends, it's TV, whatever it is, what is influencing you to either make a decision or not make a decision? Because if we're talking about our stress, consuming too much will definitely lead to stress. Because sometimes you compare yourself with other people, what appears to be what they got going on. Don't do that. Don't do that. Compare yourself with yourself. All you want to do is show up and be the best version of you today. Not the version yesterday. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. All you have is the present. And so, what's influencing whether you make a decision or not? Think about those things. What's truly influencing you? What's in your ear? Who's in your head? Is it social media? I'm on social media, but I'm just saying. If it's not supporting the direction that you're going in, evaluate that thing. Evaluate that thing. All right. E, we're talking about your environment. Is your space calming or chaotic? Do you have, I hear people say, oh, I'm all over the place all the time. So sometimes that warrant your environment shifting. You can't clean your whole house in one day. You can't even clean your whole house in one weekend. You can't even organize your office in one day. So make a decision in small parts. What part will I do today for 1 hour? Not all day. Not all day. I'm inviting you to consider not all day, because what ends up happening is you get stressed out because you can't do it all. Am I talking to you? Am I in your backyard or your front yard? Because you can't do it all, that further contributes to your stress. I invite you to give yourself some grace. If you if you did the laundry and the clothes are on the couch, do they really have to get put up? Now, some of y'all be like, I can't leave it out. Well, that's on you, okay? If that's going to contribute to your stress, that's on you. But if you feel like it makes you relax to fold your laundry and do all them clothes, whatever works for you. But my invitation is, if it creates extra anxiety, extra stress, consider not doing it at that moment. The world will not end because you don't fold your laundry and put it up. I guarantee it. Your house will not cave in if you eat dinner tonight and don't wash your dishes until you feel like it tomorrow. Guaranteed, your house will not cave in. Sometimes you're so exhausted and you put all this amplified pressure. I'm just talking about basic things. I'm not even talking about major significant things, but these are some things that contribute to people's daily anxiety. It's not the big things, it's the day-to-day things. It's the day-to-day running list of things that you have to do, right? That's contributing to your ongoing anxiety. And when you get that big thing, that's the straw that breaks the camel's back, as they say. So I want to invite you to, one, take a look at your decisions. What's draining you? What is something that you continue to say yes to that's draining you? What's influencing your decisions, whether or not you're going to have that hard conversation or not? What's contributing to that? And then your E, your environment. Do you create a calming environment for yourself? Whatever that looks like, that's going to help you to woosah. I'm not saying set up a whole room full of candles. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, what makes your environment welcoming and inviting for you? That's my invitation. And then T, are your thoughts helping you or are they hurting you? We are our biggest critics. We are our biggest critics. So many people that I've encountered are perfectionists. There's nothing wrong with having standards, but to the degree that they cause you anxiety all day throughout the day, That's not helpful to your internal systems. It's going to keep your heart rate up because you're always thinking about the next thing, as well as it's going to check your blood pressure throughout the day. Watch what happens. But if you do some deep breaths, like I showed you all earlier, it's going to help your blood pressure. I know that to be a fact because I practiced that. But are your thoughts? What are you thinking? This we know. Whether you think you can or you can't, oh, you absolutely correct. Today, I just wanted to give you some practical things to help you to reduce your stress. Stress and your diet, your decisions, your influences, your environment, and your thinking. Some of your stress really just comes down to excess. And we're talking about environment. I want you to consider, what does it look like, or what would it look like? Hey, Chantel, my girl from Florida, what would it look like for you to say no? And this is a conversation that I've had here recently, and I continue to have, saying no without guilt. There's a lot of guilt associated when I choose not to be available. I invite you, you don't have to make an excuse for why you're not available. When you put an appointment on your book, on your calendar, that says, I'm spending time with myself, you're being honest. Check your calendar. How much time have you allocated to spend time with you? Everybody don't need access to you all the time. Become intentionally unavailable. Schedule time with yourself so that you can reflect on your decisions. Evaluate your influences, check your environment, and regulate your thinking. Then you will see your stress start to reduce. If not, let me know. This is not something that I've heard. This is what I actually practice. I had to make some decisions. You have to make some, you get to make some decisions. You have a choice. And so I don't want you to just leave this space inspired. That's why I'm giving you practical things that you can walk away with. Schedule time for yourself. Schedule your rest as an appointment, standing appointment, not just when you go to bed at night. I need you to consider, I'm inviting you to consider, what would it look like to put rest on my calendar for me? Make a mandatory appointment with yourself to woosah, to rest, to take a break, to unplug, because we're always plugged in, access, on call, 24/7. If you're navigating life transitions, you giving access all the time. So figure out what that looks like for you to schedule time, rest outside of going to bed at night. Beyond that, that is going to help you with your decisions. When you can unplug, right? When you can unplug, go away, steal away. Now, I understand everybody can't go on no retreat. That's not what I'm saying. You can build this into your rhythms. We talked about that, your rest rhythms. You can build this into your rhythms of your daily practice. It can be 5 minutes. It can be 10 minutes. I have a comment over here that says, make an appointment with myself to, yes, relax and release. I'm not talking about at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 8:30, whatever time you go to bed. I'm talking about building into your calendar and be intentional with holding space for that. We hold space for all the people. We hold space for all the things, but I'm inviting you to hold space for yourself so that you can continue in a strong way and in a safe way and in a cautious way to hold space for other people. And so I don't want you to just leave here like, oh, this is a very inspiring conversation, but I want it to transform into action. So based on what we talked about this morning, whether you do some breath work, whether you start moving more or moving differently, because movement is medicine, pick one thing from today and commit to it for 24 hours. Whether you're going to practice breath work throughout the day, whether you're going to practice some stretching throughout the day, whether you're going to roll your shoulders, pick something, one thing that you can commit to for 24 hours as an appointment with yourself. For the next 24 hours, I'm going to focus on me starting to regulate my nervous system in very small ways. That's our conversation this morning. When I talk about stress and your diet, today was not the conversation about your diet in terms of what you're eating. We'll have that conversation. But right now, it is about our decisions, our influences, our environment, and our thinking. Because when you can sit with yourself, you'll make better nutritional decisions. I have a comment on Facebook that says, breath work for me. She's going to be practicing breath work. We're talking breathe in for 4, hold it, and exhale slowly. Give yourself a longer exhalation for 6. Practice that. So, thank y'all for joining this morning. Make sure you share this out because I gave y'all some practical strategies, some practical things to employ today. So, before we get out of here, you don't just manage stress. 2 types of stress that we talked about today. One is acute stress. There's a time frame, there's a limit, 90 days. Or even if it's not 90 days, there is an end in sight. If you're planning a wedding, it might be 6 months, it might be a year, but there's an end in sight. If you, on the other hand, have been navigating something for a long time, whatever that something is, I don't know what it is for you. I'm inviting you to have a conversation with yourself. If you're not going to be able to eliminate that stress, then what are some things that I can do on a daily basis to reduce the impact that it has on my markers, on my health markers? That is my concern. Stress impacts your health markers. Stress impacts your cardiovascular system. I don't want you to lay down and not get up because you're stressed out. I don't want you to wind up in the hospital because you're stressed out. Take these practical steps, apply them to your daily life. You don't need a new life. New year, new me. We in April. It's a new year, new patterns. What are some things that are going to do? Change my patterns. Add these small steps. So I want you to save this live, comment on it when it posts, and share it with somebody who need a reset. Continue to follow me. Y'all know pull up every Friday, 6 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. We're on YouTube, LinkedIn, as well as Facebook Live. Make sure you are sharing this out. As I close out, I want y'all to drop, hey, good, congratulations. I have one of my Facebook said they started Pilates and love it. There are some small things that we can do, new patterns. That is definitely a new pattern. Congratulations. I know you feel better. Congratulations. So we're starting new things in the new year. We are starting new things in the new year. This breath work has been new for me, so I'm really enjoying it. So I invite you to consider starting new patterns, your decisions, your influences, your environment, and your thinking. Before we get out of here, I've got to do my commercial break. I want to shout out again, if you're navigating stress in a way as a result of loss, I have a new partnership, new collaboration with When Morning Comes. And that's MOURNING. When Morning Comes podcast. Make sure you follow Net and Rhonda and Net on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Instagram when morning comes. You don't have to navigate loss alone. That's my invitation to you. Trying to navigate loss alone is going to add to your stress and is going to impact your nervous system, your cardiovascular health. That's my concern, your cardiovascular health, okay? And then also make sure you continue to pull up. If you have not been to my website, I am a published author. I want you to go out and get a copy of my journal, which is still available on my website, and As we're showing up in this space, I invite you to join the No Flinch Faith movement. This is my brand line, No Flinch Faith. What that Get this on my website. What this represents is we're in a season and we're in a life where we no longer flinch when it comes to our health. Nobody's coming to save us. We're saving ourselves. That's the conversation that we'll have as it relates to some other things, but we have agency, and I'm inviting you to practice agency over your life. One last announcement before I get out of here. Two announcements. You see me with this t-shirt on, Planted Strong. One of my good friends, Jovina Clark, out of Dallas, Texas, will be hosting a Meatless in May challenge. I'm going to have her on in a couple of weeks to talk about that. Your actual diet contributes to or impacts your stress. I'm talking about your eating. So I'm going to invite a guest to come in and have that conversation. So Planet Strong, that's going to be Jovina Clark, who will be coming on my live to have a conversation with you all and invite you to join her Meatless in May challenge. I'm going to join it because I support my girl. And then my final announcement. For those who have been following me, you've been seeing me post about the BCI conference, Black Christian Influencers. I will be speaking at the Black Christian Influencers Conference. The founder, Jackie Horbrook, out of Chicago, Illinois, will be hosting this movement, this full experience in Chicago, June the 25th through the 28th. If you've not purchased your tickets yet, question, what are you waiting on? You can meet me live in person. Not only me, I'm going to say I'm a small part of this large experience. So if you can go and check out BCI on Instagram. I am telling you, this conference, this movement, this kingdom movement where we're descending on Chicago, right? So if you've not purchased your tickets, you can use code Regina, REGINA, and then L for $50 off the lowest price ticket. This is a 4-day conference, the 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th. What do you get? You're going to get the opening night with worship. Then Friday, you're going to have the actual conference and an award show. Several people, major people, have been nominated for awards. You can see that I've been posting that as well. You can actually vote on the awards, singers and comedians and influencers and pastors. And then on Saturday, there is a comedy show and a basketball game. And then, of course, Sunday is worship. Where else can you go for $149 for a 4-day conference? But when you use my code, Regina L, you get $50 off the ticket. So I'm inviting you to support, I say, my stage presence and to support this movement, right? We support a whole lot of things, but I'm inviting you to support the kingdom movement. And so you can just go to BCI. I'll drop the link, message me. I'll drop you the link, make it real easy for you. But I want to see you in Chicago. If you cannot attend, still, you can support me by purchasing a ticket and I will give it away on my live. So thank you so much for pulling up. When we're talking about, as we're closing out, your takeaway for today, stress in your diet, your decisions, your influences, your environment, and your thinking all contribute to your long-term health. I'm here for you to help you close the gap and address the things that's impacting your health markers. That's why I pull up. That's my whole aim. So I will see you all next week. Make sure you share this out with someone you know and or love who's navigating a chronic stressful situation or who's just navigating life. I gave you all some practical things today that you can employ today. Thank y'all for pulling up. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for interacting. And I will see you all next Friday, 6 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Live. Y'all take care.